What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wrestling Informer. This is where we give you all the information on the inside that you need, and there is proof that we give you the inside that you need. I'm Cab Manning. I am from the Lingus Mafia podcast. I give away stuff on my platform, on my Patreon. That's at Lingus Mafia on Twitter. You could see everything there that you could win. And you could also go to patreon.com/Lingus Mafia. I am with the guy who always gives you the correct information when months later you get other guys like Sap. They come out and go, hey, guess what's going to happen when, I don't know, months earlier that Billy has gave everybody the information. That is this way, Mr. Billy Body.
Hey, so let's play what we are talking about. And then we'll address everything after that.
So give me some information. What's happening with the recent becoming a mother, Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, so that's in my news this week. So I actually got that from a unique source this week. But Ronda Rousey is returning to the WWE. I believe it's at the start of the year. They're looking to load up this WrestleMania. They're looking at their options for doing WrestleMania in 2 nights.
Okay.
So give me.
If you pause it here, you can see on the screen that it's episode 2. 3 months ago. 3 months ago. Now, where are the little douchebags that come on here and are like, oh, Billy said this and Billy said that? Like, where are the people? And this is the thing. They know I'm getting stuff right because Toni Storm looked about 20 pounds lighter, which is exactly what I turned around and said that she was going to do. Before she did it, I said a person was off TV to lose weight and they came back thinner. I gave you all of the results from Crown Jewel along with the finish. I gave you Crown Jewel was where there was the King of the Ring, right? Yeah. I gave you guys the WrestleMania main event and told you they were heading towards Brock and Rock. Even Brock and Roman. Even though guys are going, oh, it's got to be The Rock. They wouldn't be doing Rock 25 for no reason. No, I told you they're pushing The Rock back if they ever do it at all. But that's what I told you. I told you that Big E was losing the title. You said that was obvious to everybody. Oh, it was obvious from the TV. Oh, it was obvious. It's obvious. When I get things right, it's so obvious to you guys. The King of the Rings, the results of the pay-per-views. This guy's going to lose a champion, even though the company had been fully behind him. What do you have to say now? I don't have anything to say about it because I'm not surprised at all, and neither is Cav. Cav didn't bat an eyelid this week. Do you know why? Because he sat next to me and done these shows for 5 years, and this is nothing. This is what we've been doing. This is why Sports Leader come there and asked me to work for him. This is why Wrestling Inc. come there and asked me to work for him. I didn't leave there because I got my stories wrong. I leave there because I didn't tidy up my podcast. I didn't stop expressing my opinions. I didn't say certain things. I didn't stop telling the truth about how fake the women's revolution was. And the guy over at Wrestling Inc., Raj Giri, didn't like it. That's why I parted ways with people. I parted ways with people because they don't like what I had to say. Until I found a home with Russo, who was completely fine with everything I had to say, except the guy paid lousy money. He was unreliable on a week-to-week basis, and he had no business sense as to how to grow his podcast. And that was the problem with Russo. Now I'm here. As I've said before, Disco Inferno, Conan, they're not going to risk their reputations off the back of me, some guy sitting in England while everybody else is over there in the States, unless I legitimately had a record of nailing story after story after story after story. And I've come in here and nailed story after story after story after story. I understand if you want to see the proof. I understand if you've never heard of me and I've come on the show. But logic says, shut your mouth and let me do the job that I'm paid here to do, because the other 2 guys that put me here trust me to do it based on a previous track record. Nobody sits in this seat by accident. Nobody sits in Cav's seat by accident because I've worked with him for 5 years and this is a chemistry that works, that has a big following. Nobody gets where they are by accident. I can understand why you're bitter about it and you think you should be here and you think you should be where Cav's sitting, but you're not. You're watching the show on YouTube And worse, some of you idiots are making stupid comments on a week-to-week basis. Well, what do you have to say now? How could I pull this out of my ass 3 months ahead of the hero of wrestling news at the moment, Sean Ross Sapp? It is impossible. It is impossible to do unless you're legitimate, which is what I've been for the last 5 years. So here's what we're going to do now. I know that everybody knows who's calling the shots right now. I know everybody knows who the man is right now, right? Because we already knew. Conan knew, Disco knew, Russo knew, the other dirt sheets knew, Cav knew, we all knew. A couple of idiots here didn't know. But now we all know, because this isn't possible unless I'm the guy, right? And now you want me to come on here and talk about the Royal Rumble. My busiest week in wrestling, where we make the most money, there's Rumble pools, there's widespread betting, and I run a betting site, and you want me to come on here and just carry on just doing for free what everybody else gets paid to do, and they're wrong constantly? Meltzer this week, Cav, you believe in this? He now knows the whole story. He now knows everything that's going on as per usual. After it happened, this guy was sitting on his hands. He didn't say anything for weeks. And now apparently he knows the whole story. So this is what he has to say. Dave Meltzer of F4W Online confirmed that Ronda Rousey has been training to return and she's still on contract to the WWE. And his quote is, either a new deal was put together or WWE froze her 3-year deal since she really only worked the first year or a few months of it. Well, no, Sherlock Holmes. That's the only two options, isn't it? She either froze the deal or she has a new deal. What could there possibly be?
She's working for free. That's the other one, right?
Right. She's back for the love of the game. No, they froze her deal because she had a 3-year deal. The way it worked is she had to do 2 years with the option to do the third if she was happy. Now, she only did 1. And for those of you who aren't great at maths, doing 1 year doesn't get you up to the minimum requirement of 2 years on a 3-year deal. So she owed them a year. Even though this deal expired in 2021, she owed them that year anyway. So now she's coming in to do that year. I was the first to report it. It's there. It's proven. You can now shut your mouths. I know you're going to carry on talking. At the end of the day, all you're going to do is cost yourself information at vital periods. You're here to hear about Royal Rumble. I ain't going to talk about the Royal Rumble. I ain't going to talk about a thing. The place where I'm going to talk about it is here. Patreon.com/LingusMafia. You know why? Because this guy's come on here and he's worked with me not only for the last 5-6 years, but he's come on this show for free to do me a favor so he can be the wingman on this show, so he can take Russo's place, so we can bounce off each other and he can ask the questions and whatnot. He sat here and you pricks have constantly badgered him more than me and gave him about this guy's boring and this guy's this and this guy's that. No, this guy and me are legitimately good at our jobs. We have a massive following on another podcast. That's why I bring it over here. So if you want to listen to this show, you're going to pay him the money to hear what I have to say. So
you're going to pay me.
Yeah, you're going to pay him. So I don't know if there's anything you want to add. I'm done. I'm not doing a show today. Like, and if you carry on,
the show starts at what time?
There's no show. You want to carry on with your now you're going to miss out on one of the biggest weekends of the year. And the next time we'll do this for the Saudi week. We'll do this for WrestleMania. I don't give a You carry on being disrespectful when there's no need to be, when I'm clearly number one, and it's been proven over and over again. There's no way that it can be disputed at this point. If you want to carry on being morons, then I'll be the biggest. I can be the big. I'm not even trying. I'm naturally a prick.
That's why he's got his Trump hat on.
What's that?
That's why he's got his Trump hat on.
Right. So,
well, I have a prediction. I don't know. Obviously, I have no credibility, right? Because I'm not in that industry. I don't know anything inside.
Because a guy that lives with his mum, watching wrestling all day, commenting on a K100 YouTube video told you had no credibility, right?
Well, and I agree with it. I don't have credibility when it comes to giving news information, which I never have on here. I've said, I don't know if you know an insight on this, but we're guessing, me and Fausti are guessing who's like surprise show ups. Mm-hmm. And on the woman's side, I've said for months now, and I know nothing. Who knows? But I would bet anything Lacey Evans shows up. Is there any rumor about this? Do you know of, or is that you have no clue to see if I'm right or not? We'll find out.
They're going to be.
I mean, who cares when it comes down to it? It's Lacey Evans.
They got 21 people in the town now. So they got 21 people in St. Louis for this Royal Rumble.
I said last week, I bet you Sarah Logan comes by, and Fausti sent me an article that said she was spotted around town. So I was like, well, I got that one in. But it's just fun to guess for.
I mean, this is the other thing. Like, you got 21 women there. I feel like you're gonna have to double down on people. Like, I feel like Beth's gonna have to wrestle on the show. Then she's gonna have to go in and wrestle in the Rumble as well. But so I will give you this bit of information. I will tie up my Ronda Rousey story. And as I said, it'll all be over on the on Cav's Patreon. One other thing happened this week. Randy Orton confirmed the and said that he was out for a couple of months. Again, we're the only show that said he had. We're the only people that said that Keith Lee had. And yeah, that's just something I wanted to point out. So the Ronda Rousey thing, where the hell has it gone? Oh, I put it on my Patreon. That's why I need to just go on. I need to go onto my Patreon. Patreon is thedirtysheets.com or lockbane.com. You can read about the women's and men's Royal Rumble. But as I said, I'm going to talk about it and read this whole story out over at Cav's Patreon. But here,
and that'll be on the Wrestlingus tier if anybody's looking for it.
Right. So here I'm going to read out the first part to tie up the loose ends of my story. And it starts with, Sean Ross Sapp is now reporting what I reported 3 months ago, which is that Ronda Rousey is set for her WWE return. Once again, I am miles ahead of all the so-called wrestling journalists. And I play the audio clip here. As of a month ago, now this is the part that nobody else knows. As of a month ago, it looked like Ronda wasn't going to make the Rumble and was going to have to earn her number one contendership via the Elimination Chamber match closer to Mania, with Sasha Banks set to win the Rumble instead. So Ronda was coming back for the start of the year. She wasn't ready. They decided, that's fine. We can just sort the SmackDown end up with Sasha, and then you come back when you're completely ready. However, Sasha Banks suffered an injury at a house show versus Charlotte. So WWE a month ago began rediscussing the possibility of Ronda being the Rumble winner, given that they could not have both of the number one contenders not in the match. So this tells me that if Ronda does win the Royal Rumble this weekend, that she's coming in late, like real late, like, and maybe even,
I'd assume for surprise factor, yeah.
Yeah, maybe even like maybe covering up some of her body, like maybe wearing something we've not seen her wear before. I'm not sure. I mean, she'll come in phenomenal shape, and everybody will be like, "Oh, you don't know anything." Yeah, because I don't FaceTime Ronda Rousey, believe it or not. So yeah, I don't know what she looks like right now. But these were the two backup plans for the Royal Rumble if Ronda or Sasha both didn't make it, and they still might not. You don't know. Patreon.com/LingusMafia. Plan A was to have Charlotte win the Rumble so that she could choose her own contender. This is why she was in the Rumble despite being champion. Plan B was to have Bianca Belair win the match, but to challenge Charlotte, not Becky. Reason being is because that would have been a triple threat match with Sasha added later. Sources state to me that Bianca would have lost to Becky prior to Mania, stating that she was trying to beat Becky because she's trying to unify the titles with Charlotte. This is where Banks would have probably come in and cost her that, which would have meant actually that Banks being out and coming back and doing this storyline would have meant Banks would have had a turn, which puts her on the way to Big Show territory with the heel face, heel face. So I don't think they're doing that one. I don't think they're doing any of these. I think that Ronda will be there to do her bit. And even if she isn't, she's coming in. And the place you heard that first was here. So shut the fuck up. Appreciate the show. It's free. Like, we're doing it out of our own time. And I don't need to read your comments. And most significantly, I don't give a fuck because I make more money than you. I'm more successful than you. I'm seeing this. So I don't give a shit. Right. So, but my
hold on. I'm getting It's getting cold in here. I got to put on a sweatshirt. Go ahead. Keep on going.
But yeah, like I say to you, my 11-year-old, you don't even like that team. You don't even like.
There we go. That's better. I'm much more comfortable now with this sweatshirt on.
As I said, my 10-year-old.
I put you on stunner. I brought him off the railings wearing my 49ers sweatshirt today. I've been waiting all week for this, Billy. I've been waiting all year. Go on.
People with 10 and 11, 10/11. He's 11 now. 11-year-old children. They do watch YouTube, and then they do read moronic comments on here. So, as I said,
yeah, that's not cool. I mean, if your son's reading stuff, people bashing you. I mean, that ain't fun.
And that's the thing. Like, and the next thing we can do, we can easily take this behind a paywall, because the reason it's free is because I said I wanted it to be free, because I wanted this to be seen by as many people as possible, so that Sean Ross Sapp, Ryan Satin, Dave Meltzer, Andrew Zarian, Mike Johnson, all of these guys that you think are your go-to sources are not your go-to sources. Your go-to source is sitting in England, doesn't even give a about doing this, mainly makes 95% of his money from selling betting packages and working on the sports gambling podcast, and is simply doing this to troll these liars that don't have this information. And let me tell you another thing before I go and give you no news. The Sean Ross Sapp thing, the way he got this news this week is because it was confirmed possibly to the writers and the insiders, and the betting line on Ronda Rousey to win the Royal Rumble moved from 16-1 to 3-1. If you stick with me, you have the 16-1.
Yeah, long time ago.
He saw this betting line moving, and he made and that's the thing. These guys don't commit. They never turn around and go, Ronda Rousey's winning the Royal Rumble, or Ronda Rousey's definitely.
Because they don't want anyone to go, you're wrong. And it's, I mean, you have to risk something sometimes and come out early, you know?
Did I say
some information? What's happening with the recent becoming a mother, Ronda Rousey?
Yeah, so that's in my news this week. So I actually got that from a unique source this week. But Ronda Rousey is returning to the WWE.
She is returning, right? She's not. She's not maybe returning. She's possibly returning. She's in talks.
You know what they'll say is, of course, she's going to return eventually. Everyone knows that.
At the start of the year.
No, not that part. But they'll all say, of course, she's coming back. That's not a stretch.
Believe
you know, it's people who just don't like you.
That's a line start of the year. So
yeah. It's people who just don't like you, Billy, and it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It's just they just don't like you, and that's all I give. It's let's poke him and let's mess with him, and that's what they do. So, you can answer some questions behind the wall now when we go over to patreon.com/LingusMafia, because I got a couple questions for you about the Royal Rumble, and this is the main reason you did this stuff for free. If people are wondering, is because you were trying to get Russo to do a YouTube show with your information to get the word out. Because if you had said that Ronda Rousey stuff behind a paywall and then said, no, I said this months ago, people would say, I didn't hear it. It wasn't out and about. So it never happened. So now is like, this is your point of why you did this in the first place, for this exact reason, to say months earlier, I did this already.
Episode 2. I don't even know what episode this is, but episode 2. Yeah. 3 months ago, at least.
This is like 14, I think, or 15, something like that. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hear all of what Billy has to say and odds and all this good stuff on who's going to win, and I saw some stuff today that Fausti sent me about some odds on one person in particular, and I'll talk to you about that over there. But patreon.com/LingusMafia, you could also win some things if you go over there and become part of my family. So check out the things you could win, because we're having a drawing on this Monday, and that will be on my Patreon and published for all to see. If you want any of my free shows that come out, half shows, just type in Lingus Mafia podcast into any of the places that you get your podcast, and you could hear some of what I do, because boy, I did a good AEW show this last week with that ladder match, and which was fantastic, by the way. And people say I'm an AEW shill, but tell me that wasn't a great ladder match. Sure, it's all spots, but what the hell else is a ladder match? That's what it is. But I did take a dump on the lights out match. Oof.
Oh.
I'm going to pretend to hug you tightly and you can't escape from the hug. That was bad. That was real bad. But there's a new favorite guy I have now, though, too.
He didn't look like he had him at all. That's the thing. Like,
no, he's barely holding. All right, everybody, go over there. You could also check out Billy at K100 Informer. That is his Twitter to go to.
Oh, yeah, sorry, that is the one. Yeah, the other one's
got me nervous. And lockbetting.com to get your gambling picks for the Royal Rumble. So if you don't hear what he says over at Lingus Mafia on Patreon, you could at least pay for it and get the odds if you are into gambling and making money. So for Billy Body, your favorite guy, Mr. Trumpy over there, and the 49er adopted fan, Kev Manning, we'll see you next time.